Welcome, craft beer friends, to Season 7, Episode 24 of Tap to Craft Podcast. I am Denny Lewis, coming to you from Boise, Idaho, and my partner in craft, the Dog Whisperer, and my favorite Florida man, and also known as Drinking Eagle from Tampa, Florida, Mr. Chris McKenzie. How are you tonight, Chris? And, of course, what is in your glass?
Yeah, and you know what? I still, so far, that Drinking Eagle thing hasn't gotten
Gotten this
old.
crap.
There we go. Jeez.
Oh, gotten old? Okay. Well, I was afraid that we were going to get, some hate mail from,
Look,
your tribe.
My people don't send hate mail. We send warriors on horseback.
You said, yeah.
But to answer your question, like I texted you earlier, man, I'm so glad to be on here having a beer with you.
Yeah.
Because
me too.
It's been a hell of a day. But in my glass today, as your favorite Florida man, I'm drinking Florida Man from Cigar City. And I know, it's going to be nice and blurry. So let's see if we can get that to, me and my good old focus.
You got the
boom. There we go.
There you go. You got it.
So we got some Florida Man double IPA, clocking in at around 8.5%. 8.5% on this one. And I absolutely love this can art that they have
too.
on
I
there.
like that. Yeah, it's nice.
And I just, on Friday, I went to Cigar City, and Megan insisted that I buy a new towel that they had there. I was like, well, what am I going to get a towel for? We went on a little vacation excursion this weekend.
Ooh,
and
nice.
The towel was from Cigar City, and it was pretty much the logo that you just saw off of my can on the towel. So I went, okay, that's pretty cool. I like that one. I think I'll get that one. So,
there you go.
Enjoying some Florida Man today, some good local beers. What about you, Denny? How's your day going, and what are you drinking today?
It's going fantastic now that we're sitting here chatting, drinking beer, relaxing. It's nice, balmy, 95 degrees out there.
Okay, so it's not just here.
No.
Okay.
It's it was 100 yesterday, 95 today. It's like summertime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, when we got ready to move to Florida, everybody goes, why would you move so far south? It's so hot there. Do you know it was hotter in Boise yesterday than it was here in Florida?
That's right. But we didn't have the mugginess. It's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat, yeah, because opening up the oven is so much more comfortable.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm doing well, and I'm drinking a beer from my favorite Idaho brewery, Jim Dandy. It's a Dandy can, 32 ounce
Dandy
can. Triumph Hazy Pale, 5.8%, 30 IBUs, and it is very tasty and a little bit hazy. And this is the second crowler that I got. My daughter right now is in Mexico for a week. Yeah, I mean, what the heck? And what do I get? I get her cats for a week, three extra cats in the house, and she brought me
beer, right?
2 Dandy cans. And yesterday I had a beer I'll talk about on our new Noteworthy that I was very impressed with.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how I'm doing. That's what I'm drinking, and I have another beer in there too that I might talk about later when I bust that open. But let's get this thing started. What do you say?
I'm totally down for that because we're
all right.
Let's get the show on the road.
Let's get the show on the road. But before we get the show on the road, we always like to let anyone new to Tap to Craft Podcast know what the show is all about. We are an educational podcast focused around celebrating all things craft beer because we want to assist you, our listeners, along in your craft beer journeys and adventures. And you're listening to episode 180. Yes, we're creeping up to 200. We're recording on Monday, June 14th, 2021. And in this episode, we're going to discuss everything you ever wanted to know about non-alcoholic beer.
What?
Yes.
What kind of beer? Did you stutter?
Right. I said near beer, non-alcoholic, alcohol-free,
All right.
non-intoxicating. All these different names you might hear. It's beyond beer because it's non-beer.
Okay.
So, and
all right.
Why am I going to bring this up? Because it's one of the topics that one of our listeners want to know more about. He's, Jim Kudzel suggested the topic because there's been a lot more buzz about non-alcoholic beer in the media recently, and there's actually a pretty big uptake, not only in Europe, because there's always been a big increase in a spike in non-alcoholic beer, but not necessarily in the States. But now we're getting a lot more breweries, not only the big beer guys, but also small craft breweries that are wanting to provide a non-alcoholic beer or for their consumers. So let's find out about how this non-alcoholic beer is made, why it's important. Is it healthier than regular beer? We'll find out all out in this episode. And of course, you can count on Chris and I having some great conversation along the way. And before we get into that conversation, I want to just mention some support we get from our Patreon supporters. This episode is brought to you in part by our satisfied Patreon supporters like Mike Allen and William Slimmer, who are our virtual producers. Tom Byrne, Jeff Seiler, Johan Halberg, Tara Carlson, Chad Lamassa, Mark Church, Matt Knight, and Kirk Tabor, who want to buy us a virtual beer. If you enjoy the content we provide, we invite you to support the show by toasting your hosts or buying us a virtual beer or even being a virtual producer. You can explore the options on our support page by visiting patreon.com/tapthecraft. And we did get a little bit of feedback, but not necessarily on the content of the show last week, but Tara Carlson, she wanted to share a photo of some more food that she's made from her husband Jim's spent grain. And this spent grain was a stout. They made a stout, and they used these stout grains to make some chocolate cookies. So there you go. You can have, and she sent us a nice little picture of that. Did you see that picture, Chris? It was on the Tapcraft.
I did not. You know what? I didn't open that email.
That's okay. That's okay. But yeah, so thanks, Tara, for sharing that. And we always like to hear your adventures in cooking with beer or with spent grains. It's always nice. And other than that, we didn't have any other feedback worth bringing up. But we do also, I want to mention, we do have a voicemail number. If you want to call and get your voice heard on the show, you can do that very easily by calling 208-536-3359, or if it's easier for you to remember, 208-53-ODDLY, and just leave your voicemail. Ask us a question, make a comment about a great beer you had, or make comments on the show. If something you enjoyed or didn't enjoy or want to hear more of, let us know. Leave us feedback. Get your voice heard on the air.
Dan, Charlie said this podcast is cosmic, right? We'll fly, Dan Charlie.
All right, Dan Charlie is watching. All right. Hey, welcome, Dan. We appreciate you visiting us for a little bit. And if you would like to contact the show with your comments or questions, you can reach us through email at tapthecraft@gmail.com or on Twitter and Instagram. Just follow us and tweet at us at tapthecraft. And of course, on our Facebook page, facebook.com/tapthecraft, and our website, tapthecraft.com.
Dan Charlie just said, I'm calling to leave a voicemail now. Can you give me the number again? It's 208-536-3359. 208-536-3359. And Dan, if you can't remember that or don't know where it is, thank you. Yeah, he said tap the craft, not the crap.
Not crap. I know. I might have some Freudian slips where I accidentally say crap. It's been known to say. I do sometimes not pronunciate very well. But it's okay. So I've been drinking. I'm not supposed to pronunciate very well, right?
You don't need to. Look, it shows up in the end. We can edit it, do whatever. Does the number spell out tap the craft? No, Bill, it does not. It's
I don't have that kind of money.
I wish we did.
I wish it did too. That would be awesome.
Dan, make sure you write that number on the bathroom wall, okay? For a good time, call this number. Drunk dials preferred. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, Chris. Hey, are you ready to continue this conversation? Because you know what time it is? It's time to untap the craft, right?
Yeah, time to untap the craft. And guys, remember, if you want to hear us read your check-ins on the show, make sure you follow me on Untapped at 1345. And we normally record Monday at 8:30, every other Monday at 8:30 Eastern time, and pretty much anything within 24 hours of that show starting. So we're going to start off with Mr. Matt Knight. Now, this isn't like a crazy, amazing check-in. He only rated this one 3 caps.
Okay.
Okay, and it's called Falcon Punch by Lucky Hair Brewing Company, and his notes were, "Yep, it's an IPA." And I think Matt is kind of on a quest to find out, interestingly enough, why the IPA is so popular.
Wow, didn't we?
It's almost like we did a show on that. But hey, so that was just one. It had a pretty cool looking, can that I saw. But he was also my very first of the last 24-hour period. Next on the list, Sarah Zawodzki drinking a Luminous Beacon by Nepenthe Brewing Company. 4.5 caps for that beer. No notes on there. We may have a fair amount of check-ins, guys. So I'm not gonna read all of them. David Martin is drinking a Galactic Space Circus by Creature Comforts Brewing. He said, for a single hop, it does not get much better than this. 4.5 caps for that beer. Will D drinking a Good Monster by Collective Arts Brewing. 4 caps. Simply put, yes, sir. Next on the list, Mr. William Lake is drinking a King Creamsicle by Treehouse Brewing Company. Checking that out at the Middlesex Canal, which I don't know where that is.
Man, always good. Always down for some Middlesex.
You had to. We're still 12 here.
Yes.
3 3/4 caps rating for that, and he just wrote decent. Very vanilla forward. Next on the list, Art Warcheck is drinking a Live Oak Gold by Live Oak Brewing Company. Just wrote Crusher, 4 1/4 caps for that beer. Jeff Seiler drinking a Doomsday Device by Drecker Brewing Company. Now, lovely stuff, he says. Big tropical and citrusy notes. My first Drecker beer. I want more. Big thanks to Chris McKenzie and Tap to Craft podcast for the heads up on Drecker. Now, Jeff, where are you getting your Drecker from?
Where are you getting that from?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I can't get it unless I try Tavor.
Something tells me he's either got a friend, and I'm waiting for it to pop up on my phone here to see what he says, but got a friend, or he might be doing the Tavor route. But I don't remember seeing this beer pop up on Tavor, but Dan Charlie, 5 caps on my Mick Ultra. Well, make sure you check it in, Dan, and I'll read it.
He's not drinking a Mick Ultra.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, well, the best he'll do is, go down to see Babu and get himself a hazy little thing.
That's if he's still at work. He's probably home sipping on his Mick Ultra.
Aluminum, high class. Yeah. Well, you know how we do, right? Next on the list, he gave that 4 1/2 caps if I didn't say that. Next on the list, continuing his check-in streak for the 7,000th show in a row, Mr. Chad Lamassa is drinking a Le Fort Rouge by Pools Island Brewing Company. And he said he went to Pools Island for the first time in a while yesterday and brought this home with me. If you just told me it was a straight-up Pinot Noir, I'd believe you. The flavors are there for sure. It's closer to wine, but it's really good. 4 1/2 caps.
It's a sour then?
So from the picture, the can is Le Rouge Fort with Pinot Noir. It's 14%.
Whoa. 14%.
And it looks like he filled up a pint glass he was just pouring out of a bottle of wine. This red wine hybrid shows all the best aspects of the varietal: dark cherry and cranberry notes with a hint of chocolate, smoke, and light tannins on the finish. So
it's a wine.
I don't know. I'm kind of curious about
wine.
that. Look, I have a 15% beer from Urban Artifact in a tiny 8-ounce can in my cooler right now that I really want to do a
this is the same one that Joel was drinking a few months ago, right?
Yeah. I still haven't opened it up. I still want to do a video on that one. Matt Knight again is drinking a Ruby Red Kolsch by Genesee Brewing Company. Nice to relax after a long, hot, dirty day at work.
I could use about a 6-pack of that right now.
Yeah, 4 caps for that beer. And man, I still wish it was showing up around here. Yeah, I want some Genesee. High class, Dan Charlie.
Yeah.
High class. Let's see. Moving on up the list. Tom Byrne is drinking an Adjust for the Altitude from 2020 from Bottle Logic Brewing. Super solid. Nice weekend up in the mountains. Cheers to my awesome dad who hunted some of these beers for me. And 4.5 cap rating for that one. Jeff Seiler got the Drecker from a mail order shop, but not Tavor. Well, Jeff Seiler, disclose your secrets, sir. We'd like to know more.
It's top secret. But yeah, let me know, because I like to get some too.
Without going through that company,
go through the other company
that shouldn't be named.
Yeah.
I see.
But I'm sure because this other company that Jeff is using probably doesn't mail or doesn't deliver to Idaho, because Idaho has really crappy laws.
Jeff, if you got this beer from there too, I have to know what it is. He's drinking a Cloudy 5000 by Melvin Brewing Company. You had me at Melvin IPA. Tropical and silky smooth. Wish I could get Melvin more often. Spill it, Jeffrey. 4.25 caps for this beer. Moving on up the list, Jeff Weesey is drinking an FSB 2019, Part 2, of course. Fair State Brewing Cooperative. Thick mouthfeel. Barrel aging is just right. Wonderful salted caramel chocolate finish. Cheers. 4.75 caps for that beer. Mr. Bill Worley is watching us too. How are you, Bill?
Hey, Vlad's Hammer.
Yeah. Chew Your Beer, or we know him as Robert, drinking an Edel Pils by Engren Brewing Company. A summer crusher, he says. 4.75 caps for that beer. And moving on up to my buddy Stephen Brown. Stephen is drinking a Dessert Station Smoogie by Corporate Ladder Brewing Company. 4.5 caps for that beer. We're going to hit refresh, see what comes up.
We got through it all, huh?
And that, Denny, is what everybody's drinking.
Wow, that's a wide variety of stuff. Some good stuff in there. I'm not so sure about Chad's glass of wine he was drinking.
Yeah, Chad, I'd like to know a little bit more about that, or if you can put us in touch with the folks over at Pools, I'd like to chat with them. We need to have a discussion.
It's a hybrid. It's a hybrid where you pour in wine into a beer glass. That's the hybrid.
Yeah, that's the hybrid. Jeff Seiler said he got it from Craft Beer Kings. Did you get both of them from there, Jeff? Melvin and Drecker? Shut up, Dan Charlie. I'll whine about it if I want to.
Craft Beer King sounds like it's like an online, gambling outfit.
I know. It sounds like a gamble. Let's find out.
Craft Beer's Kings.
Craft Beer Kings. Craft Beer
Only
Kings.
$19.99. You can get all you can drink.
I mean,
I wish.
And he said yes. That is exactly. That is exactly where he got them both. I may be shifting my loyalties elsewhere. Yeah, I'm 21 or older. So let's see. I'd be interested to know how this all works.
Well, they're out of California, so.
Oh.
That's
I don't even know where to start.
Well, we're getting off track here, but
You're right. I'll look at that while I'm at work.
How about you do your homework? We'll make this homework for you, Chris. You go ahead and check out, what is it called? Craft Beer Kings.
Craft Beer Kings.
And you figure out how it works, and we can give a update on the next episode.
Okay. Jeff could always give an update.
True.
But if I give the update, that means I had to buy it, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, you want to buy it, so I want to buy it too. So I'll probably do some homework myself.
And you'll wait till see how I like it.
No, I'll try it. I'll try it if they can deliver it to Idaho, but it probably says can't deliver to this state because that's what usually says.
All right. Well, I'll take a peek in between conversations here.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? It is time to get going with the Brew Buzz. It's time for the Brew Buzz. I'm stepping all over myself here. Which the Brew Buzz is devoted to discussing various beer-related topics. And this week, we are going to discuss everything you ever wanted to know about non-alcoholic beer. You heard it correctly. Non-alcoholic beer.
Bum, 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 bum.
And I know Dan Charlie's like, what the hell am I listening to? This is not even real because beer has alcohol in it. Well, you're absolutely correct. And again, this is a I'm trying to think of the word, a portion of the.
This is all part of the craft beer world.
It's all part of the craft beer world. So it's like one segment. That's what I'm thinking of, segment, where that's kind of growing faster, faster than other segments. So it's interesting that if you have a need to have a beverage that tastes like beer but doesn't have the alcohol because you need to do, you need to go to work, you need to, stay sober for your friends, your wife, whatever, to go. Let's say your wife wants to, is pregnant and wants to enjoy some beer. It's still not recommended because there is trace amounts of alcohol. But again, it's not horrible for a pregnant woman to have a glass of wine or beer,
Tap the Craft does not condone the consumption of alcohol by pregnant women.
Yeah, but I mean, there's some healthy benefits to it as well.
My cousin Eric said, I tuned in for a 0% ABV episode. # sad face.
Not 0%.
Yeah, Eric, get it together.
0.05% alcohol. So there is some alcohol in there. Don't worry. We will get you drunk. Just got to drink a lot to do it. All right. So I pulled this information from several different websites. Like an article called "The Oxford Companion to Beer Definition of Non-Alcoholic Beer." This is off the Craft Beer and Brewing website. And this article was by David Thomas. And then another article, "Is Non-Alcoholic Beer Healthy?" This is from the Groovy website by Reagan Simpson. And then another article that's we blind tested 31 non-alcoholic beers and found 7 we actually enjoyed. This is from the Growler Mag website and written by John Garland. So 31 different NA beers that's a small portion of what's out there. There's a lot more non-alcoholic beers than that, but they tested 31, found 7 of those, about a quarter, a little bit less than about a fifth of those were ones that they would actually drink and enjoy. So hey, we'll go ahead and talk about those in here as well.
Okay. Eric said also, Homer Simpson wrote, all beer is healthy.
That's right. And there's some stuff in here that they make statements about the health benefits of non-alcoholic beer. And I think some of those health benefits are also found in alcoholic beer. So it's kind of a, I don't know. I don't know if I agree completely, but hey, we can talk about it. All right. So non-alcoholic beer is also called NA, the NA, low alcohol, near beer, small beer, or small L. And it is a malt beverage with a very low alcoholic content. And although the name might lead one to believe that a non-alcoholic beverage contains no measurable alcohol, this is not true. Technically speaking, there is no such thing as non-alcoholic beer because beer contains alcohol by definition. There you go.
In your face.
So in the United States, although these products are called non-alcoholic beer, the actual labels read non-alcoholic malt beverage or non-alcoholic brew. These NA products may contain up to 0.5% alcohol by volume, although there are global differences that can lead to confusion. So in the United States, the term non-intoxicating was applied to all beverages with less than 0.5 ABV during Prohibition and has since morphed into non-alcoholic. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration does not consider these terms non-alcoholic and alcohol-free synonymous. The term alcohol-free may be used in the United States only when the product contains no detectable alcohol. So you can't call it alcohol-free because there is some in there. All right, so I'm going to continue on and let you do the next section. Is that okay, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so in the United Kingdom, alcohol-free or zero alcohol beverages may contain measurable amounts of alcohol up to 0.05% ABV. So in UK, they're a tenth of what, is that right? Am I doing the math right? I'm going backwards in here. It's like a tenth of what ours is. So they have a really, much more stricter alcohol.
That's 0.05% if you're looking at it that way.
Okay, there we go. Beverages labeled as dealcoholized,
De-alcoholized.
dealcoholized, alcohol removed, or non-alcoholic may not contain more than 0.5 ABV, and those labeled low alcohol may not exceed 1.2% ABV. The European Union standard is wider than that of the United States or the UK because alcohol-free applies to all beverages containing less than 0.5% ABV. Although there is no global agreement for reduced alcohol beer or wine, the worldwide codex standards for for ethanol in some fruit juices, soft drinks, and baked goods are between 0.3% up to 1% ABV maximum. Hence, interestingly, these products may contain equal or higher levels of alcohol derived from the use of flavoring extracts or natural fermentation than some other categories of beer and wine. So imagine getting that fruitcake from Aunt Louise, and you're thinking it's non-alcoholic, but that fermented fruit in there is going to knock you on your ass if you eat too much, right?
Yeah, especially the flavoring extracts too. I remember when I was in I guess the vocational school in high school, when I took my pastry and baking section of culinary arts, the instructor, Mr. Ackerboom, who is a good friend of our family.
Is that a Simpson?
No, I wish it was. He's Mr. Ackerboom's a former Marine turned baker. But he always told everybody, he was like, look, the flavorings that you use in these, look, they're made out of actual fruit or whatever it is you're using for flavoring, and alcohol. Don't be stupid and drink it. As a high school kid, you know there was that one or two kids in there that were stupid enough to drink it, and I remember watching it happen because the kid took the bottle. Now the bottle, in more of a commercial size, the extracts were 16 ounces, and he took a big old swig of it and pretty much instantaneously vomited in the trash can.
Oh man!
So Mr. Ackerboom wasn't kidding. All right. So okay. Moving on to the next. I'm grabbing my mouse here, and it's messing with me because I got my laptop here, but this is for the desktop, and I'm too many things going on. So how popular is NA beer? There are hundreds of non-alcoholic and alcohol-free beers in global marketplace today, currently representing less than 1% of total worldwide beer sales. Many brewers think of NA beer production and sales as part of the overall corporate citizenship effort because profitability can be lower for these products as a result of higher equipment and energy costs. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. In the United States, NA beers are produced exclusively by large mass market brewers. Recently...
Now that was... I meant to edit that.
Okay.
I forgot to. So that was what it was in 2016.
Okay. That makes sense.
Exclusively. Since 2016, we have had NA beers. In fact, Athletic Brewing in Connecticut was, I think, the first full craft beer, craft beer or craft brewer that went all non-alcoholic beer. And I think that was right around 2017 when they started up. So that was 2016 and above. But reality now is we do have some smaller companies doing non-alcoholic beer.
Don't you guys have one out by you, or is it the gluten-free place?
No,
Ghostfish?
Ghost Fish is in Seattle. That's gluten-free. But there's no NA. I don't think there's any NA one near us.
Okay. I actually had some gluten-free beers this weekend from Corporate Ladder, which were rather tasty.
Well, Mad Swede did a gluten-free. It's gluten reduced. So gluten-free means you're not using any gluten in the beer.
Right. And
gluten reduced is you use gluten, but then you use a product to remove it. So it's reduced or removed. And so Mad Swede here locally, they did a very good gluten-free hazy pale ale.
Did they?
That has good flavor, and you wouldn't even know it was gluten reduced.
Okay.
And so yeah.
I once got promised a hat from Mad Swede, but
no, not from Mad Swede, from Brewnomics.
No, it was a Mad Swede hat from Brewnomics.
But Brewnomics. And I just saw them this weekend. I should have asked if they still had it.
They still don't have that. Somebody else is wearing it.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna give them crap about it. Where were we? So recently, stricter drunk driving law enforcement and increasing awareness of the reduced calorie content of NA beers, it's generally half of regular alcohol beers, have resulted in higher volume sales in some markets. There's been growth in the NA space, especially in Europe. Let me try that again. There's been growth in the NA space, especially in Europe. In Germany, it's estimated that 1 in every 15 beers consumed contains no alcohol.
Is that amazing or what? I would have never. That's the research.
Especially
That's a research.
Germany.
Yeah, that's a 2020 stat right there.
Wow.
Amazing, huh? 1 in 15 bears. Never would have guessed it.
You know what, Denny? Just because you read it on the internet doesn't mean it's true. Fake news.
That's true. That's true. It's true. It could be fake.
All right. Its 1,500 breweries now produce up to 500 different varieties of NA crafts. And Spain drinks the most NA beers of any country. They're low and zero alcohol beers called sin beers, for without. Sin is without in Spanish. Those account for 13% of all beer sales.
13%.
That's wow. That's almost 1/5.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot of NA beer.
Jeez. And NA taps can be found in every bar. Non-alcoholic beer is currently the fastest growing segment of an overall sluggish beer market. Oh, here comes our friend AB. AB InBev is committed to making 20% of its global beer volume no or low alcohol by 2025.
Yeah. Again, a 2020 quote from them.
Recently launching a dozen new brands towards that goal.
Yeah, and we've seen it, right? We've seen Bud Light,
yeah,
NA or whatever. I don't know. I've seen these on the shelves, and I'm just wondering who's buying them.
Apparently, 1/5 of AB InBev's customers.
Yeah, so it's amazing. So again, this is why I think Jim brought it up as a possible topic, because it's becoming more popular. A lot of younger people are concerned about staying in shape and lower calorie stuff.
Round is a shape.
But but they also don't want to be looked upon by their peers as like not participating. And so if they could have a beer that looks like beer, smells like beer, tastes like beer, but doesn't have the alcohol, and they can still enjoy the being out and looking like they're hanging out and drinking with their friends, and not have the extra calories and not worrying about having to get in that car and drive after you have a couple. And why not? I think that's where the market is.
Club soda and lime is just fine.
That's true. That's true. All right, so this next section is a bit lengthy because and the section is called "How to Reduce the Alcohol in the Beer," and there's actually they listed 10 different methods that alcohol can be reduced or removed from beer, even during the fermenting process and even the wort. Actually, from the whole process, from doing the wort to the fermentation to removing it by other means. So there's 10 different methods that we're going to briefly discuss. So Chris, I'll do the first 5. I'll let you hit the next 5. Is that cool?
Yep.
All right. So starting off, the first one is limiting. So alcohol can be reduced and in a beer produced by modifying many different parts of the brewing process, singly or in combination, as follows. So keep in mind, a lot of these are going to be done in conjunction with one another to reduce that beer from stage to stage to stage. Or you might be able to use one to do it all in one stage, but most of it I think is going to be a combination of doing a bunch of these things together. So the first thing is you can limit the malt-water ratio by mashing to yield a calculated lower original gravity and subsequent alcohol level. So we all know the higher the original gravity is, and the difference between that higher gravity and the finishing gravity will determine how much alcohol is produced in the beer. So if you start with a very low original sugar level, then the fermentation is not going to have much to work with. So you're not going to generate as much alcohol by reducing that ratio. So there's one way. You can also use lower fermentable brewing materials to retain original gravity, yet yield higher finished beer dextrins and lower ethanol. So again, change up the material that makes it harder for that yeast to break it down, and then you can still have that beer wort and some fermentation, but it's going to be mostly, sugar water, basically, and hops. I hope you got to have the hops in there to kind of count out the sugar, but you're not going to be breaking down as much of those materials. Number 3, controlling the dextrin content by warmer infusion mashing, somewhere around 70 to 80 degrees C, which is 158 to 176 in Fahrenheit range, which inactivates heat-sensitive enzymes like beta amylase and slows the conversion of starch dextrins to maltose, therefore lowering the fermentability of the wort. So again, these are all things that are going to reduce the effectiveness of the fermentation of the sugar water that you're making your wort out of. All right, next, fermenting the second runnings from a stronger beer mash, for example, from an imperial or Scotch ale. Now, we've talked about this in other segments about, I'm pretty sure we did, or maybe now I'm trying to remember how if we talked. Maybe it was when we had Corporate Ladder. Your buddy from Corporate Ladder was talking about doing a beer in the mash, and then utilizing those grains again for a second beer. Was that on? Corporate Ladder or something else?
I don't remember if it was Corporate Ladder. I do remember going to a brewery that was like that. The brewery has since gone out, but
but basically you brew a big beer, right? You brew a beer that you want to have a higher alcohol content, but when you are done, you still have a lot of sugars still in those grains that aren't being done. So you reuse those grains, and now that sugar content in that wort is going to be a lot less because it's just secondary, purpose of those grains. So that's another way of doing that.
Party guile, that's what they're called. Party guile.
Party
beers.
Guiles, yes. Yeah. We did talk about party guiles, but how do we get on to party guiles? Was that when we talking Corporate Ladder?
I think that was with Blake and Corporate Ladder.
Yeah, I think it was. I think he mentioned the party guile back then. I mean, my memory is not the best, but I think I remember it was Corporate Ladder. All right, so last one I'll talk about, number 5 here, using the, quote, cold contact method of fermentation by pitching brewer's yeast into wort at near freezing temperatures, effectively limiting the fermentation but allowing some beer flavor to develop. Beers produced in this manner are often reported as having a warty flavor character, thought to be caused by aldehydes such as 3-methyl methylhydroxyhaldehyde. Yeah, I'm
not even going to play with that.
Yeah,
one.
that's quite a word. Quite a word there. That's way too sciencey for this podcast. But yeah, so if you ferment at a temperature that's not optimal, then that yeast is not going to be as effective in breaking that stuff down, because as we learned before, you have lager yeast that likes colder temperature, ale yeast like a warmer temperature. But if you're doing it at the lower end of those yeast zones, then you're going to have a lot less of that fermentation going on, and you're going to thus produce less alcohol from it. But like I said, you're going to get that warty, sugar watery wort flavor, which is not good. Nobody wants that sugary flavor, right? I don't think so.
No.
But I think a lot of these can have that similar behavior.
I mean, it's okay, but I think it can get over the top really fast.
Yeah, and I think that is why in the past so many non-alcoholic beers early on, like let's go back to the 70s, right? When non-alcoholic beer was like first
Tell me about it, Denny.
Tried to be introduced into the States, and it was horrible. It tasted. Nobody liked it. They drank it because it was the option, but it tasted horrible, right? And even the early O'Douls, and there's another, besides O'Douls, there's another
St. Pauli Girl.
The St. Pauli Girl, did they have a non-alcoholic version?
I thought St. Pauli Girl was non-alcoholic.
No. St. Pauli Girl had alcohol. Look that up real quick, because I could have swore St. Pauli Girl had alcohol in it. If not, then I drank some of that crappy beer. That beer is crap anyway, right? It's in a green bottle.
Oh, sure. You hate
it's
it now.
Skunky. No. I didn't like it back in the...
Okay, there was a not... Well, it wasn't their label... I swear their label was blue.
It was blue. Yeah, it was blue, white, red. And it was a green bottle.
Okay. So we definitely have that. But yeah, the green version over here, that's their St. Pauli Girl NA, but there's also this lager right here too. So
okay, the blue. So maybe the blue label.
Yeah, this one was their lager. Ooh,
Yeah.
you can get it at Walmart, guys.
St. Pauli Girl, man, that's a pull back from the past there. I didn't like it when I had it back then before there was other stuff. But so they have an NA version.
Okay.
But all right, Chris. So why don't you finish us off with the last 5?
Just as long as they don't have any big words in them, like 3-methylenopropylene.
I think I stole the big words.
Okay, good. All right, let me open this beer first, and then I'll get going. Because number 6, another modification includes interrupting fermentation when the desired gravity and alcohol content are reached via pasteurization or crash cooling or removal of yeast from beer or beer from yeast, as in immobilized yeast fermentations.
Yeah,
that's
just take the yeast out.
Mm-hmm.
Big yeast magnet. Pull that yeast right out.
I'm curious to know how they would do that. John, how do you do that? Let us know. Following a normal fermentation, ethanol can be boiled from the finished beer at temperatures above ethanol's boiling point, which is 173.5 degrees Fahrenheit or 78.6 degrees Celsius, for those of you playing along at home.
Yeah, that's some hot beer right there.
I mean, look, if you're boiling it, boiling point of water is 212.
It's going to be thick and nasty. I don't want to boil.
Then just add more water to it, Denny.
Oh, that's true. Good thinking. That's probably what they do, right? They boil it off and then add some,
Yeah, but if they keep it at 175 degrees, then they don't have to worry about a lot of liquid loss. They're just boiling off the alcohol.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, so it even goes on to say that, and below the boiling point of water for a minimum of 30 minutes. So that's pretty much what they were doing. Yeah. Some hop volatiles will be lost by boiling along with higher alcohols and aldehydes. Malt flavors and hop bitterness will remain generally unchanged as long as the beer is not allowed to, quote, cook on, leading to off flavors from furfural products.
So I think, again, this was probably taken from 2016, maybe before 2016. And nowadays, this won't be a problem with the hops. Yeah, some of the boil hops, yeah, you'll lose some stuff. But then all you got to do is just dry hop the thing and give it more flavor, right? So you can actually have, get that flavor you need with some modern day dry hopping stuff.
Or as we like to call it, flavor.
Flavor.
All right. Let's see, where were we? A more elegant but complex method involves passing the finished beer over a semi-permeable membrane, either under its own pressure, or which is a form of dialysis. That's cool.
It's basically like an RO filter, right?
Yeah. Or you just
force it through an RO filter.
You pour it over a vertical filter and let the hydraulic pressure push it through. Or pressure boosted. There's your reverse osmosis.
Oh, it does. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Where small molecules like water and ethanol are pulled away from the larger sugars, proteins, flavor, and color compounds in beer. Ethanol is then evaporated or distilled through application of low heat under a vacuum. Yeah, or as my science teacher would say, suction is not a real thing. Finally, the residual water is recombined with the beer flavor, carbohydrate, and color soup to make a dissected, then reassembled NA beer. Number 8 has got to be my favorite one so far.
It's definitely elegant, and it's time consuming. I mean, imagine, even if you use your method of just putting the beer in and letting it force pressure through the membrane, how long that would take to get that stuff through? A long time.
Is it not the same as making coffee?
Yeah, but
at least how I'm imagining it. If we're gonna let the
I keep thinking so maybe you're right. Semi-permeable, maybe a coffee filter.
Filter.
I was thinking it was more dense than a coffee filter.
It probably is, but you know, the weight of the liquid's gonna push, and you know.
I like the vacuum aspect, because you're right. You increase
Yeah.
the vacuum, then the temperature is a lot lower to remove that.
And then it pushes a lot harder with a lot less effort.
Yeah.
Negative pressure.
Okay.
Diluting finished beer with deoxygenated brewing water to the desired alcohol level as an extrapolation of the method used by high-gravity brewers is still the simplest method of producing non- or lower alcohol beer. But this method dilutes all beer color and flavor compounds. You told me you got the big word. Concomitantly? Concomitantly?
Yeah,
Me either.
That's a big word.
Yeah, sure is. Yours was big. Yours was bigger though.
Yeah, mine is bigger.
And for those playing along at home, concomitantly just means at the same time or simultaneously.
Why couldn't they just say simultaneously?
Right?
These damn scientists.
Not even. That's just a douchebag word right there. Concomitantly.
I try to remove words like that. I miss this one.
Okay, that's okay.
Words that are big like that I can put a simpler word in, just because I don't like saying big words.
And then it just leads to just goofy conversation. All right, and number 10, recognizing that ethanol itself is a significant contributor to beer flavor and mouthfeel, and that removal of all or some of it by any method can result in dramatic flavor changes. Some flavor houses offer concoctions that claim to make NA beer taste more like real beer. Each method has its advantages and disadvantages of complexity, capital, and operational and energy costs.
Yeah, so one of the things you mentioned in your previous section was that breweries think of this as their let me get the exact word because I just lost it, citizenship, corporate citizenship, because they're doing it because it's the right thing to do, even though it's costing them more money and it's a lot harder to do, and, and resources, and it's not necessarily as popular as they could get their regular beers. So it's a they're taking a little bit of a hit, but it's their corporate citizenship to provide this as their way of giving back to the community.
Well, I mean, and any citizen contributes to the community in some form or fashion. Well, NA beer has its contribution as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now the big question: is NA beer healthier than drinking regular beer? Well, let's find out.
I don't care. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, so we all know that non-alcoholic beer can be a healthier option than its alcoholic version, but did you know that it can actually be good for you? The benefits of non-alcoholic beer go far beyond providing a healthier alternative to drinking. Besides being a better option than regular beer in many situations, non-alcoholic beer has health benefits in itself. It hydrates instead of dehydrates, aids in post-workout recovery, promotes better sleep, and can even reduce anxiety. If
That's
you're pregnant,
a stretch.
Yeah. If you're pregnant, taking certain medications, or our doctor advised to limit your alcohol consumption, having non-alcoholic options on hand is a key. If you're making health and fitness a priority, you may choose to swap your typical drink with something alcohol-free too. Have you noticed that regular beer, wine, and liquor bottles never display nutritional information? You can find the ABV, but you'll never know the calorie or sugar content. And for this situation, ignorance is not always bliss. The average calorie count in a pint of beer is around 200 calories. But keep in mind, this is an average. Some heavy beers with higher ABV can have much more. Even a normal 12-ounce bottle of light beer has around 150 calories. If you drink a few of these, you're drinking a meal's worth of empty calories. If you drink often in large amounts, you could be consuming thousands of excess calories a week. Yikes.
Yeah. I can't remember where I found it, but I found a chart that was basically saying, if you have a beer that's 5%, there's, 120 calories in it. If there's a beer that's, 8%, then it's 400 calories or something like that.
Yeah.
But there is a calories formula to calculate basically the ABV to how many calories should be in it too. And there's a really cool calculator if you want to find it on homebrewacademy.com that'll tell you how many approximate calories are in each of your beer based on the size that you're pouring. So let's see, for example, I'm drinking a beer that's 8.5%. I'm having a 12-ounce can. Currently, 255 calories in this beer that I'm drinking, which I think is great that you can actually do that. Or, you know, if you take a 12% beer and you have a, you know, a 24-ounce bomber of it, you know, that's 720 calories. That's quite a meal.
Yeah. I don't know how accurate that is because, like Scrimshaw Pilsner, right? It's 5% ABV, but it's under 100 calories. But what if you put a 5% beer, 16-ounce can of 5% beer in that calculator? What would it give you?
So a 5% beer of 12 ounces is 150 calories.
Yeah, see, so there is stuff that can be done that reduce the calories. So it's kind of a rough estimate, not necessarily hard, you know, fact.
So according to them, approximating your calories in your beer, approximate calories equals your ABV percentage times 2.5% times the number of ounces. So calculate your ABV times 2.5 and then multiply that by the number of ounces.
Okay.
Simple. Everybody should be able to do that, especially when you're putting down 14% bombers with your friends.
Yeah, especially when you're at 0.08, not thinking too clearly.
Oh, I dropped it. Okay.
Hey, Chris, can we take a break? I gotta go pee.
We sure can. And Tom Joseph just got on, so that's perfect timing.
Hey, Tom. I'm going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We still have more to talk about, but I'm starting to feel uncomfortable because I drank too much beer already. My
Go for it.
Full. I'll be right back. I'll even mute my mic.
That's so nice of you. Tom Joseph, how are you, sir? And I just sit here by myself while Denny's going to the bathroom. Yep, it's right here. Nah, this is perfectly, but yeah, just as long as we don't take the camera in behind the scenes, Tom, I think you'll be fine. Hi, Sam. Sam, can you get me some Oreos, please? That'd be fantastic. Look, Tom, I need you to root for the Lightning. It was a hard-fought game yesterday against the Islanders, and this could be a tough series for us. Okay, Denny's coming back. So I asked Denny on our Facebook page, have you had any non-alcoholic beers that you like? Which ones did you like? My buddy Jason Lutman said root beer. I can't fault you for that one, man.
Yeah, there's I don't even think it's really beer, but there's black beer in Israel that's like a root beer type.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of similar. It's not actually root beer, but it's similar to root beer. But it's non-alcoholic beer called black beer, but I think it's just a soda.
Oh, okay.
It's tasty, but it doesn't replace beer for me. I still want beer.
And Jeremy Garrison's checking in to say hello.
Hey, Jeremy. Good to see you.
Feel better?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm ready to go. Thank you for that little break because I was, like I said, I was starting to get antsy. I don't like to get antsy.
Denny just starts shifting in his seat a whole bunch, and we're like, "Were you okay? Just gotta pee." All right,
Chris. So we're right here at this non-alcoholic beer is much lower in calories.
got it. Non-alcoholic beer, guys, is much lower in calories. 12-ounce NA beer ranges between 26, pretty specific number, 26 to 60 calories, which is less than half of what a typical beer contains. Not all non-alcoholic beers are equal, and some are higher in calories. However, most calories are from the alcohol itself, so by removing the alcohol, you remove most of the calories from the beer. They're still not selling me on it, but hey, let's keep learning.
Yeah.
Some research found that non-alcoholic beer can work as a recovery drink for athletes. Now, okay, I'm listening. Such an athlete. The recovery benefits stem from the presence of phenols, which are compounds derived from plants. Phenols can reduce inflammation and strengthen the immune system, both of which are beneficial to not only athletes, but to anyone and everyone too. So basically, from the fact that we're using hops in beer, that means beer is a salad. Is that what I'm understanding?
Beer's a salad, and even alcoholic beer has phenols, which are healthy for you. The only difference is, they already mentioned that alcoholic beer will dehydrate you, where non-alcoholic beer won't. It'll rehydrate you. So it's like adding water, and water is not disappearing. So that's the benefit, is still the same thing. It has these things without reducing your water.
Okay. So I'll just order more salads then.
Yeah.
When you cross that finish line, climb that mountain, or complete that hard workout, remember that alcohol can hinder your recovery process. Celebrate instead with a non-alcoholic beer and give your recovery process a kickstart. It has been long believed that alcohol helps you fall asleep. While it may do so, it results in poor sleep quality. If you want to drink something before bed, don't, because it'll make you have to get up and pee. If you want to drink something before bed to help you sleep, choose a non-alcoholic beer. According to research on a group of nurses, it's a specific group.
Yes.
A group of nurses. Participants fell asleep. Participants fell asleep faster and slept better when they drank a non-alcoholic beer before bed compared to drinking nothing. Okay. That paragraph in itself was just gold. In the same study, researchers noted that drinking non-alcoholic beer reduced anxiety. Was that a group of doctors? Or on the flip side, the alcohol in regular beer can increase it. If you struggle with anxiety, keep this in mind next time you choose a beer. The secret ingredient to better sleep and reduce anxiety? Hops. This study found that hops can help significantly improve mild symptoms of depression, anxiety, and stress. Another study found that hops act similar to melatonin, which explains how, Megan takes it, how it can enable better sleep. Also, too, this is not in the article, but CBD is a big thing right now. Right? Everywhere you go, there's CBD, CBD. Hops and
are very close.
Cannabis are actually in the same family.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some compounds in there that are the same.
Yeah. So Lagunitas does that hop water.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that hop water is actually a good sleep aid. Non-alcoholic hop water.
As my favorite saying goes, Denny, only one way to find out.
Yeah, try it. All right, so that's the breakdown of non-alcoholic beers, the possible health benefits, and on how it could help you over beer.
Mm-hmm.
And the popularity is growing big, and there's a lot more of it around. So I think now if you go look at your grocery store shelves, you're going to see a lot more non-alcoholic options out there. A lot of smaller craft breweries are also producing NA beers as well. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the non-alcoholic craft beer options that are available to you. Now, this is I'm going to start off. This is from that article of they had 30 some and they found 7 that were good. They started off listing the best European offerings. Now, as Chris already mentioned, Europe was way on board with this this non-alcoholic beverage thing than the U.S. was. So they've been around for a lot longer, and there's a lot of options there. So there's 4 beers that was mentioned that actually were tasted good and were worth going ahead and giving a shot from Europe. Beck's NA beer, Buckler NA, Klaushaller dry hopped, and Erdinger NA. So those are 4 European NA beers that are worth trying if you really want to try some NA beers. And then they go into the American NA beers now, and in America they went ahead and did a solid, here's a solid American option that's been around for a long time, and this is the old O'Doul's Amber. There's a couple of different O'Doul's versions. The Amber one is the one that has the best flavor. The other one's not so good, a light lager or whatever it is. So and O'Doul's you can find that everywhere. It's been around for decades. So if and I've had O'Doul's, and honestly, I still prefer real beer, alcoholic beer, but it's not bad, actually. It actually tastes decent. It's not that bad.
Oddly enough, Kaylee Nault commented to the question that I posted on our Facebook, if you've ever tried a non-alcoholic beers and did you like them. She said, I remember when I first turned 21 that I had a goal to try a bit of everything. I bought a bottle of O'Doul's and it wasn't bad. Don't let your dad hear you say that, Kaylee. Would I drink it again? Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, if you're stuck with no other option and you want to have something to taste like beer, it's not that bad of an option, honestly. It really isn't. Okay, so Chris, why don't you hit us up with the best American NA beer?
The best American. Okay, the best American NA craft beer options, according to this guy and his group of nurses. Athletic Brewing Upside Dawn. Is that supposed to be Dawn?
Yep, Dawn.
Okay, Upside Dawn.
Upside down. It's Upside Dawn.
Mm-hmm. The non-alcoholic Golden and Run Wild non-alcoholic IPA.
There you go. That's from that Athletic Brewing out of Connecticut, and they've been doing it for about 4 years now, 4 or 5 years. And I sent an email to them when they first started to see if we can get some samples to try on the show, but they weren't sending them out this way. So I should try again, and we should try to try some Athletic Brewing, because I hear it's really good, and it's really craft beer. It tastes just like you're drinking a real alcoholic beer.
Look, I would totally give it a shot, but that's look, yeah, you know what? It's just, again, only way to find out.
Yeah, try it. And I hear that Golden Ale is you would think that the IPA would be like the best, but that Golden Ale I've heard is really good.
Okay.
And I've heard people say it's the best one. They have a stout. If I remember correctly, they have a stout as well. They have the IPA and they have the Golden. So there's options out there. But again, you have to be in a distribution area, and that's on the East Coast. So if you're on the East Coast, you're lucky. If you're out here on the West Coast, not so lucky.
Okay.
All right, Chris. Anything else you want to mention of your experiences? Have you ever had a non-alcoholic beer before? Never.
Not on purpose. At least.
On purpose. Okay.
What about you?
Yeah. I've had O'Doul's.
Oh, there's both of them right there.
And honestly, I might have had. I might have actually had a St. Pauli's Girl in there too, and not know it. Now that we brought up the pictures and stuff, but yeah, I've been curious about it just because. Now the problem is, you're gonna buy a 6-pack of this Athletic Golden Ale, right?
Right.
And you're gonna be paying, $16 for it.
So on their website, it's $12.99.
$13 just for a 6-pack, and if you do shipping, now because it's non-alcoholic, they can ship it like a soda beverage.
Get free shipping on 2 or more 6-packs.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're $26 in.
Yeah, $26 for 2 6-packs of not getting a buzz on. Is it worth it?
So it's $3
That's
a
the key.
can. Is it worth it?
Yeah, is it worth it? Or would you rather pay $12 for a 12-pack of O'Doul's?
Can I do a mixed pack is the question.
Maybe we should see if we can do a mixed pack, and we we each get 24 cans.
What's
12 cans.
What does shipping really look like for one? Shipping is to be determined at this point. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Maybe we'll come back to you with some tasting notes on non-alcoholic beer.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't done a tasting session forever.
We sure haven't. And it's kind of tough to get a hold of anything really anymore that you and I can both get.
Yeah.
Unless we do something
big.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is our non-alcoholic beer brew buzz. Write us in. Let us know what your favorite non-alcoholic beer is. If you have any experience, tell us why you would love it or hate it. Whatever. We'd like to hear back from you. All right, Chris. Now it is time to talk about our new and noteworthy beers. So, Chris, you want to go first?
Shipping's $10.
Whoa! You might as well buy two then. If you're gonna pay $10 for shipping.
Yep.
You just pay $3 more
for
and you
three
get
extra bucks.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Medical, military, and nurses and first responders receive 10% off. So if you can supply your military, medical, or first responder ID, you can get 10% off. So give that a whirl. What's that? Stash Panda?
Yeah.
Who does that one?
Hop Valley.
Hop Valley. And they're located where?
In Eugene, Oregon.
Good old Oregon.
Yeah, it's a hazy IPA, cryo hops, got a lot of grapefruit flavor in there. It's like a red grapefruit. It's pretty good.
All right. Yeah. All right, so some new and noteworthy beers. I went pretty local for this episode. The first one I want to talk about is the Cellarmans Choice from Cigar City Brewing. And initially I read this when I stopped by the brewery that it was a English summer ale. So I was interested right away because it was English summer ale. I thought to myself, okay, there's got to be some lemony type flavors in that beer. And the write-up on Untappd says, when the men and women who oversee the fermentation of our beer finish their noble work and grab a seat in our tap room to enjoy the fruits of their labor, they reach for Cellarman's Choice, a refreshing and fruit-forward pale beer that is assertive in flavor and light in body. Our version of this estival treat, maybe they forgot the F, utilizes citrus-forward Chinook and Simcoe hops with orange peel to deliver zesty clementine flavors and herbaceousness, great word. Drink like a brewer and grab a pint of Cellarman's Choice. Yeah, really light and easy to drink. I could have had a couple of those, and I would really like to enjoy some more of it. Gave it a 4 cap rating, and would really like to get a hold of some more of that, but it wasn't.
Was that on draft?
It was on draft. In Untappd, it's marked as a golden ale, but in the brewery, it was, like I said, an English summer ale.
Yeah, a golden ale. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The next one on my list is going to be Blueberry Muffin from Great Notion Brewing, and this one I gave 4.5 caps to. So Great Notion, I get it from that should not be named beer shipping company. Okay, so Jeff, if you want to trade or something, we'll talk. But this was a fruited sour, and initially I was expecting just this big, sweet, fruity, and then it's a little tart too. And it really wasn't. It was very much a more natural blueberry flavor to go along with it. And I don't remember specifically if there was any type of certain malt in it that made it kind of have that
crumb
biscuity, cake. that crumb cake or just kind of not pastry sweet, but just kind of that bready taste in there. And it was really more of a natural blueberry flavor, and it was light and refreshing. I think it clocks in at about 6%, and I gave it 4.5 caps. I think I have one more left in the fridge, thankfully, so I'm
Nice.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
And I say that about all my beers, by the way. I like it a lot. And the last one I want to talk about is from Arkane Aleworks right here in the Tampa Bay area. Those guys are up in
Haven't
Largo.
you already had this on the New Northerly before?
Nope.
No? Are
Not
you
this
sure?
one.
Okay.
Not this one, because I've had Gimme Swelter.
Oh, this is the Helter.
This is the Helter
like the name.
Swelter.
Yeah.
I do too. And the Helter Swelter, I was extremely excited about this one because Gimme Swelter is a mango habanero Berliner. Not over the top, like spicy, just you get that pepper flavor, and then the mango just literally just cuts it off right away. So I was really excited about it because I like the Gimme Swelter. The Berliner, or the habanero and the mango go really good together. Now, the Helter Swelter kicks it up a little bit. And the listing on Untappd says mango habanero Florida Weiss, now with more habanero. And it's significant. Yeah, it's significant. And it wasn't, I don't know what it is about pepper beers. People will get pepper beers and they'll go, oh my gosh, it was spicy. I can't do it. I've never really had a beer that was spicy that I couldn't drink it. Right?
It's not that you can't drink it, it's the effect after you drink it that keeps coming up and up and up, and you keep burping up the spice like all night long. Next day you're sweating at night, and all you smell is habanero heat coming off of your pores.
That's what Florida smells like anyway, Denny.
like funk.
Yeah, like hot habaneros seeping through your skin. But this one, I gave this one 4.5 caps as well. And it was definitely on the sweet side, but the heat from the pepper really played well with that, with the sweet mango. So it was, I don't even want to say tolerable. It was just enjoyable because you get like this initial just quick hit from the heat of the pepper, and then it goes away and it's nice and sweet, and you get a little bit of even a little bit of bitterness, like a sharp bitterness really quickly from the pepper. But I did really enjoy this beer. I had 2 of them. It was when I was was hanging out with
and there was
Joel.
no side effects from the pepper heat or anything.
Listen, not that I remember.
Okay, you were already 2 sheets to the wind by the time you had 2 of these.
Well, no, actually, this was
3 sheets.
No, because that was the first and second beer I had when I got to the beer garden.
Oh my gosh! Wow, you had 2 of those before you started your night.
And then I I met up with Joel and Dan.
And then the drinking really started.
Well, and then they bought me beers. So.
And you don't remember the rest of the night?
No, I do. I totally remember the rest of the night. So much so that I responsibly drove home. Yeah, I was completely fine. Completely fine.
Okay.
Well, what about you? What's on your new and noteworthy list?
Oh, well, I have 3 items, and I thought I was only going to have 2 items, but as I mentioned, last night I busted open a Jim Dandy can that my daughter gave me, and this one's called Jim Dandy Brewing's Cocomo New England Double IPA, and what I wrote on Untappd here is a gift from my daughter for watching her cats for a week. Another great double IPA. Big mango fruit with a hint of coconut and some dankness from the Sabro hops. Have I mentioned how much I love Sabro hops? I love that hop.
You haven't.
Yeah. I could drink this refreshing, flavorful beer all summer long. Cheers, Davis and Haley. And I gave this beer a 5 cap rating. Why? Because it was hot yesterday, and this beer just made me feel good, and I appreciate that coconut flavor. I don't need it like big in my face, but I love it when a beer can have that mango, tropical fruit, citrusy sweetness in there and following that sweetness with that little bit of coconut flavor right in the mid of that, and then finishing off nice and dry. This beer just resonated with me, and I just gave it a 5. I was thinking, okay, I'll give it a 4.75. I'm like, Then I started thinking, I'm like, why 4.75 and not a 5? So I kept drinking, and I got down to the last of the can. It's a 32-ounce can, right? I got down to the last pour, last sips, and I'm still just enjoying it, maybe even more than I enjoyed it when I first started drinking it. And I said, you know what, I'm giving this a 5 because this beer is fantastic. So
I'm gracious with it.
5 cap rating. That's right.
Because I was going to say, you can't nail it on the price or anything.
I can't. Well, I mean, I will say this, that, they're getting ready to celebrate their third, like July 4th would be their third anniversary.
Awesome.
And they have adjusted their prices slightly from the time that we did the interview, even last year. And they did have, most of their Crowler cans were $7 for Crowler. And then they would have one of their Crowlers would be like $9 or $11, depending on the beer, but usually one. Now it is pretty much a lot of their Crowler fills are $9 or $11 for fill, and and just the basic ones are $7, so it's a little bit more expensive. But the beers are really good, and they are putting a lot of ingredients.
Yeah.
I mean, to do these big beers like this, it's a lot of hops in there, right? You can't do this type of beer without putting a butt ton of hops in there. Now they are using cryo hops, so on some of their beers, so that does reduce the amount of waste that they have in there, but it still costs money to buy those cryo hops. So I don't ding them because they're charging a typical price of what people are charging now, but it's not necessarily as low as it was when they first started, where I would go in there and I'm like, damn, a $7 Crowler, that's great, right? Now their Crowlers, $11 Crowler is a lot of times is what you'd pay for a growler fill, in a lot of places, between $11 and $14. And now you're getting 32 ounces of that. But
I fear for your wallet when you come to Tampa.
Yeah, I know. I'm spoiled. I know I'm complaining about small things. And I shouldn't be complaining because, honestly, Jim Dandy's prices are really good compared to, what we're getting now. Because now pretty much in most of the places in Boise, it's a $6 pint.
Yeah.
Or $6.50 pint, right? So the price is like, you go get a gold, you go in and get a gold nail, it's $6, right? It's not like a cheaper price for a beer that's not as ingredient heavy that needs to have a higher price. They're just charging that flat rate for everything. And so prices are going up here as well. I am still supporting local breweries. I went out this last week to a number of different breweries and supported them, pay the extra price, give them a good tip for it. And I'm still tipping. I always tip well, but I'm tipping extra well still because I know how much that these workers had to take, when they weren't working. So I want to try to give back, but it still is hard when I know I can go and get a 6-pack for $10 at the grocery store, or I could go buy a pint for $6.50. The frugalness in me says go to the store and buy it. But if I really want to truly help that brewery, I need to go buy it from their the source, right?
Sure.
So they get more money. So.
I mean, admittedly, I bought a Crowler on Friday. It was $10 to fill it, and that was at Cigar City.
Yeah. All right, my next beer is a gift from my good buddy Alex Fuchs, who came into town for a week. We got to hang out and go drinking at the bars, and he came over to my place and he brought me a 6-pack of beers from Israel, and this one is from Dancing Camel. I enjoy Dancing Camel. They're in Tel Aviv, and this is a Baltic porter. It's called the 1872 Baltic Porter, and this is it was a collaboration with another brewery, a European brewery. I can't remember which one, but this one was brewed in Israel. So I'm just letting Dancing Camel claim it. I'm not going to, do the collaboration. But it's a Baltic Porter. I love Baltic Porter, and Alex knows I enjoy that style, so he grabbed it for me. He saw that I hadn't had it before, which is nice. So I said, one of my favorite styles, really well done beer with spot-on flavors expected with the style. Thanks again to my buddy Alex Fuchs for the generous beer gifts. I gave this a 4.5 cap rating. Really good Baltic porter out of Israel. There you go. And then the last one is another Israeli beer from Alex. And this is from the brewery HaDubim. Now, HaDubim is a brewery that closed down a few years ago and then reemerged a couple years ago to like come back alive. When I first had HaDubim from our buddy Ariel Druck. He's been on the, he's watched us live before. He's coming to Boise on the 23rd of June, so I'll meet up with him again here in town. He'll be here drinking some Boise beers. But HaDubim, that's when I was first introduced because he was working at that brewery. He brought me to Dancing Camel, actually. I was at Dancing Camel. He said, hey, let me bring you some beers. Let's drink together. And he brought a bunch of beers from HaDubim, and we drank, and we had a great time at Dancing Camel drinking a bunch of different beers. So this one's called Berale. It's a brown ale. And again, Alex knows how much I love brown ales. I just said it's a great brown. It's actually called a brown ale, but in reality, I think it's supposed to be a brown IPA because it is a bit hoppy. So I called it a brown IPA with nutty malt character, floral, piney hops. And it's a great beer that resonates with me, and I gave it a 4.5 cap rating as well. I enjoy those nutty characters that a brown ale can give you, and I love the fact that they put in some hops that gave it a little bit of a hoppy backbone to it as well. So it had the malt and the hops. That's why I called it a brown IPA. So HaDubim Berale. All right, Chris, that's it. That's it for me on my... I drank a bunch of other beers, but those are the ones that were the highest rated ones that I wanted to talk about.
Well, they sounded like some good ones, especially since Alex brought you some good ones. Hope you guys had a good time. I saw a couple of pictures pop up on social media, and you guys were out causing a ruckus in Boise.
No, we don't cause ruckus. We just like slow roll around. We had some good times.
All right.
All right, Chris, you know what? It's time to close this show out. But before we do that, I always like to ask if you'd like to give a toast to someone. So who would you like to give a toast to tonight?
I would love to raise a glass to a very, 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 very special person. Megan and I just celebrated our 17th wedding anniversary on the 12th. So what was that, Saturday? Friday? Let's call it Friday. So
it was Saturday, but
was it Saturday?
We'll call it Friday.
Yeah, we started.
Today's the 14th,
Friday.
So
yeah, I never said math was one of my strong suits either. So, but yeah, just want to raise our glass. Cheers, Megan, to another many years. To that. So cheers.
Yes, cheers. That's awesome. Congratulations to both
Thank
of you. I love hearing success stories with marriage because so many don't last as long as you or I. So Sure. But even, we'll just leave it at that. But Denny, who would you like to raise a glass to? Well, first I want to raise my glass to our Patreon toast for the night is Kirk Tabor. Thank you, Kirk, for supporting us. We really appreciate, the support you give us. And next, I've already mentioned Alex Fuchs. Cheers, Alex. Gracious to bring me a 6-pack of beers. All of them so far have been fantastic. I think I have 3 left. I think I drank the first 3. I have 3 more I'm going to savor and enjoy. I really appreciate it. Come back soon. I love hanging out with you and drinking beers and chatting. And then also want to raise my glass to the Brewnomics crew. I know they still owe Chris his Mad Swede hat, but Will Sinclair had a birthday, and they invited me to hang out with them axe throwing on International Axe Throwing Day, Saturday. Not only did we earn a badge for drinking beer on that day, but I also got to throw axes on International Axe Day to celebrate Will's birthday, and I just appreciated those guys inviting me along to have fun and interact and have some fellowship. It was really a good time. So
life is complete now.
Life is complete.
You get your axe throwing badge.
That's right. That's right. And then my last toast goes out to my my dear cat, lovingly known as Chuck Boris. We had to put him down last Saturday. Saturday before this last one. the weekend that Alex was here. It's sad because he all of a sudden got sick. We went to the vet and we did a bunch of stuff to figure out what was wrong. And it turns out that he had lung cancer, of all things. There's no smoking here. He's not, huffing on a pipe or anything. I don't know how he got lung cancer, but the poor cat got lung cancer. And a week later, we had to put him down. It just deteriorated so fast. And it was sad to see him go so quickly. And he was a big part of our lives. And he was more of a dog in cat's clothing than a cat. He was definitely a unique animal. So I raise this glass to my buddy Boris. May he rest in peace, and may we see him again one day. And of course, being a former serviceman, I want to raise my glass and thank all those who have served and who are currently serving in the U.S. military services, protecting our freedoms. Thank you for your service, and please return home safely to your families soon. And Chris, why don't you go ahead and give a toast to our sponsor?
Sure can. At the forefront of the craft beer movement, Brewer Shirts was one of the first to create apparel that celebrates the art of brewing and the love of fine beer. Never too trendy, always comfortable, and offering affordable quality, they screen print their gear by hand in their studio using eco-friendly inks, materials, and processes. Visit their online store at brewershirts.com and use the coupon code TAPTHECRAFT2020 to receive 15% off full-priced items.
All right, you can find the beers that we mentioned on the show and the articles on the show notes, located on the show post at tapthecraft.com. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, I can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and Untapped at Loose Screw. And Chris, how can others follow you?
Never on Twitter at Chris_McKenzie82, unless you send me some message on there that I probably won't ever see. Or you can find me on Untapped and Instagram at MCK1345. And as always, guys, check us out on everything social, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Everything is at Tap the Craft.
All right, it is last call. It's time to bring the show to a close. We want to thank you for downloading and listening to the show. We ask you to please tell a friend and, of course, subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We're on everything, so just go search for Tap the Craft. And, of course, as a reminder, we don't release a show every week. I'm just too busy to do that. But every 2 weeks, a new show comes out. So go and subscribe and look forward to us every 2 weeks. Now go out there and spread the good word of craft beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.